You're tuned in to Repco Muscle Garage, the home of New Zealand's toughest muscle cars, hot rods and street machines. Proudly brought to you by Repco, in association with Mount Shop, Maguire's and Rizloan. Later, we check out a serious resto mod VK Commodore that somehow didn't end up costing serious money. And talk to the team at Henry's, a small town shop cranking out work on an unexpectedly big scale. But first up, thanks to Maguire's, we're back in the workshop of Ian Neary for the second part of our story showcasing his incredible work. Last week we popped the hood on Eruption, his jaw-dropping multi-award-winning GTX. This week we're getting up close and personal with his 59 Skyliner. This one came before the GTX. In fact, Ian's had it now for more than 20 years. Over that time, it's amassed a few war stories. Everything from a heater core blowing up back in the day which sparked some serious reconditioning, through to a bit of a fender bender on the way to beach hop one year. Through it all, he's built and basically rebuilt the Ford to an absolutely immaculate standard. And that's something that's become a real trademark for Dr. Detail.
My passion for vehicles probably started when I was a kid. Trolleys, mini bikes, my go-karts, then my first car. It was never good enough. I wanted to modify it. I wanted to make it go faster. I wanted it to look better. Wanted to build hot rods. And my preferred hot rods are the 50s and 60s, the cruisers and the muscle cars. So I got a few over the years. The 59 was actually the first car that I went from start to finish. The appeal of the 59 Skyliner was, in my younger years, I vaguely remember seeing a car where the roof came off and went into the back and made it a convertible. And I was freaked out by that. You know, where did this come from? This is space age stuff. In 2002, I was doing a contract job out in West Auckland. Lo and behold, there was this car, the 59, sitting in the shed. I fell to my knees and I spoke to the owner. I owned it that night. It's actually a Japanese import. It went from brand new in 59 to US General at the Okinawa Air Base in Japan. And when he got decommissioned in the late 80s, it was sold to a private collector in Japan. And it was picked up by a New Zealander in 1998, sat in his shed until I found it. It was pretty sad. Paint faded, had a little bit of rust in it, wasn't running, and so I spent a month or two getting it running, fixing up little bits and pieces on it, and using it for 18 months until 2003 for Christmas. The heater core blew, pulled the mats back, we can see the ground, and the auto had lost its first low gear, so I thought it's time to rebuild it.
As you'd expect, the 59 is full of thoughtful touches. Everything from the stance to the stereo have been modified to Ian's exacting standards. And notably, Orgasm, the name he's given it, also has some pretty head-turning artwork adorning the back panel.
The artwork on the trunk of the 59 is sort of quite special. I love artwork and I wanted to have a feature on the car. It has no significance of anyone important. It's just that I found an artist called Michael Mobus, who was born in the 70s in Germany, and he just does amazing artwork. And so I got an amazing airbrusher in Dean Lovitch to do that artwork on there, and it speaks for itself. The engine in the car is a FE390 big block, which is a full rebuild. It's got, a head job, it's got the minor cam adjustment, cam grind, and, the big carburetor, electronic ignition. Behind that is sitting a C6. So I modernized the transmission, and it's got the original 9-inch in it. The other thing that was really important to me is I wanted to get it sitting low to the ground, so I airbagged it. I used Slam Specialties bags, which have proved to be indestructible. The sound system in that car, it's an Alpine head deck with a kicker speakers and amps. I love my sounds, I love my music. John from Kicker Car Audio in America was out here in 2009 Beach Hop, He made a comment that that car is the best open-air sounding stereo system he's heard in a car in 30 years. In the back seat that you lean against, there's two little round rings. They've got some gauze in it, and people call them sound ports. What they actually are is it's a port that goes through into the trunk area where the subwoofers are, and that's for my special needs daughter who's profoundly deaf. When she sits in the car in the back, she can feel the music.
Like the GTX, the 59 is a truly world-class build. No stone has been left unturned, and the result is something that goes well beyond the automotive into the realms of auto art. Despite this, Ian's a stickler for ensuring car show passers-by can jump in and really interact with his work, rather than just admiring it from afar. A testament to the infectious passion he's only too happy to share when it comes to incredible cars, and more importantly, incredible craftsmanship.
What's special about the 59 is just pretty. It's just beautiful. Something that makes me really proud is that once I'd finished the car and I got on the circuit with it for the shows, and then of course I saw the realization of what I'd built and the enjoyment and the drama it created, because it did create a lot of drama. When we do have shows, my cars are never roped off. No barriers, nothing. I want people to get in and down and dirty and enjoy the vehicle. And the amount of people that are so thrilled to be able to sit in it, have photos with it, and that's what's one of the things that's special about that car for me.
Now, thanks to Rizloan, we're visiting a shop that's full of surprises. Henry's. Tucked away down a driveway, the scale of this cutty workshop only really reveals itself when you're right in the thick of it.
Henry's Rod Shop in Kitty. Pretty much do everything from panel, paint, upholstery, engine swaps, everything. Just a one-stop shop.
We service and build hot rods, classic cars, maintenance in a mid-range. Basically what we do, got a 16 staff, great guys, all passionate in what we do. So we're just moving forward each day.
Henry's is way up there with the biggest in New Zealand, despite the fact that it's taken up residence in a small Bay of Plenty town. However, despite this impressive footprint, Henry's Rod Shop actually had pretty humble beginnings, centred around one particular Ford Tudor, owner Ray's Model A.
I sold my farms and I got bored, so we wanted to do something to keep me out of trouble, basically, and then we come across Stretch, and he'd been in business 10 years, and we sort of got together and just built it from there. We decided to take that big block out, blow in, and something more, a bit more reliable for what I'm getting older. So that's where we started with that Model A, and it turned out absolutely amazing, and then from that, it just, people keep coming in. Thought we'd just have that little bit out the front, but for some reason it just keeps growing.
Everybody that comes in can't believe how big it is. And that's when they're in the first shop, and then they come out to the back, and see the back part of it, and it just gets bigger and bigger, and unfortunately I have to walk around it all day, every day. Yeah.
And while Stretch gets his daily cardio in, there's a lot to like about the scenery. While the Henry's team take pride in the one-stop shop service, there's certainly no one-size-fits-all approach around here.
Yeah, we've done everything. Combi, a couple of V-dub convertible, mainly the older muscle car, just street machine, hot roddy stuff. Huge variation, like just, yeah, from 40s, 50s, right through to newer Challenger. We've worked on, C7 Corvettes, and we don't sort of try not to turn stuff away, Like we've done English stuff, and it's just everything.
It doesn't matter what stamp it's got on the front. Every car that comes in is somebody's gem. Whether we like it or not, it doesn't matter. We work on it like it's $1 million car, like every one of them, and because it's somebody's pride and joy, so everybody gets a good kick out of stuff that goes out of here, yeah.
It's not hard to see why. A wander through this place is practically like being at a small car show. Amongst the lineup, you'll find an assortment of projects like this blown street and strip Tirana and a turbocharged LS swapped C1500, which now pushes 620 horses at the rear wheels. And it's always a good sign to find not one, but two Hemi 70 Challengers on site. We featured Carl's Super Clean RT earlier in the series, while a 660 horse upgrade in the shape of an injected 540 cube Hemi keeps the Challenger's fat feet firmly in the period-style muscle car camp. The same can't quite be said for its roommate. This 70 might look the part, but cops a host of late model upgrades hidden under the hood and behind factory wheels. The chassis has been stiffened up and a serious Willwood braking setup was deemed very necessary due to this. The running gear from a Hellcat Red Eye. Driver enjoyment is the name of the game here, a theme applied to every car that comes and goes through Henry's doors.
To me, there's no point having a shiny painted car that's horrible to drive, doesn't stop, won't start in the morning. Like, I'd rather spend money, I'd rather do the suspension, the brakes, make it drive as nice as possible for that era of car, and then worry about all the shiny stuff after. You want to be able to enjoy driving it. Like, if you've got a Jap car sitting in the driveway and a pig of an old car, the pig old car might owe you 100 grand, but you're going to take the Japper because it's easy to drive. My idea is to make them enjoyable so you use them. So the money you spend on them is used. It's not just a shiny ornament, it's an actual car you can drive. You get in and drive it, yeah.
While Henry's 3 years in trade places them as a relative newcomer in the world of New Zealand workshops, this cutty monster has even bigger plans for its future. And that's just fine by the team on the tools.
Like, I couldn't see myself doing anything else, really. Make more doing structural engineering or working on trucks, or paid a lot more and you make a lot more money, but this is, you come to work and you do what you love, so it's almost not like work, I've been doing this as long as there's petrol cars around, I guess. Hopefully I don't have to go electric.
Ask anybody that's in it. Anybody, even the guys that don't know about cars and buy them and go on a hot rod run or a beach shop or whatever, they're hooked. That's it. They've got a fantastic group of people around you. This industry throughout New Zealand, it brings in billions to the economy, even though you may not see that on the news, but it does. And lots of other issues with it, mental stress, and all that sort of stuff. If people get out and do something they really love to do, and we want to be part of that.
Protection of hybrid ceramic.
Whoa.
Now in 3 easy-to-use products. In original spray wax, now as a liquid wax, and a spray detailer. Meguiar's hybrid ceramic family with advanced SiO2 technology. Meguiar's, ceramic made easy.
Rizlone has been in engines almost as long as engines have been in cars. Why? Because from then until now, there's never been a perfectly clean fuel. This means every time you fill up, you're adding pollutants and contaminants to your fuel system. Rizlone Fuel Injector Cleaner can cure those woes and help save your engine. Rizlone Fuel Injector Cleaner adds an upper cylinder lubricant, providing double the cleaning power out of the same bottle. We know something about aging well, so when we say it's your engine's fountain of youth under a screw top, you can count on it. Rizlone is the original engine tune-up, available at participating stores near you.
You're tuned in to Repco Muscle Garage. Now, thanks to our mates at the Mount Shop, we're in Kingseat, South Auckland, to take a look at a classic Commodore with a big sound that wasn't built on a big budget. Sachin Balu bought his first V8, a VT Commodore SS, in 2004. After selling it, he had what he described as V8 withdrawals. And that led him to the stunning 86 VK Commodore. It was a journey also fueled by a V8 mad brother-in-law who'd built plenty of early Commodores that caught Sachin's eye, ultimately pushing him deeper down the V8 rabbit hole.
Yeah, V8s have been part of my life, I guess, for the last sort of 15 odd years. Prior to that, I was a bit of a Japanese carboy. Oh, it's just the noise and the sound. I mean, you can't beat it, They don't have to be fast, but they just sound awesome all the time. Oh, many years ago, my brother-in-law, Peter North, had a few cars and helped him sort of build a couple of them up and thought, I like this. And then I bought my own V8, flicked that off and had withdrawal symptoms ever since, and then decided I need to do my own one. So bought this and here it is now.
The VK Commodore was the first Commodore model offering a fuel-injected V8 engine and became the basis for the Holden Commodore Group A race car. So despite some smart embellishment, Sarchins respected this and kept this much-loved 80s legend comparatively stock. Another reason for this is financial. When it came to the build, he initially set himself a budget to help ensure his bride-to-be was on board with the project. It has to be said though, as Sarchin is only too happy to admit, it was a little optimistic.
So part of this build was all about the budget. So 10, 15 years ago when I built it, you know, things were a bit tighter back then. I said to the missus that I'd build it for 10 grand because that's what Peter told me I'd be able to do, which was a lie. So hence we started off, you know, a cheap build, but I had in my mind what I wanted to do, which was basically a V8, 5-speed manual, lowered, cool sounds, exhaust system, and that's what I got. So I found the car on Trade Me. It was a 6-cylinder, 2-tone copper and silver, 6-cylinder automatic, and we found it out in Rangariri. The car was passable. Again, it was lowered on mags and what have you, and it was drivable, had a warrant and rego. So by all means, it was ready to go, just as a daily driver if I wanted it to. But that didn't last long, obviously. Within a week, it was ripped apart. Building on a budget, you've got to have a plan of what you want to do, you know what you want, and just get out there and do it. There's always help. You got the internet these days. There's people that, you know, books, magazines. Just do your research and work it through. Having a good car body is where you need to start because that's probably the hardest thing to get right. Anyone can whack an engine together, but having a straight body is probably the most important part in a build like this. The initial budget was about 10 grand, and I've probably, on day one when it was built, might have been closer to 20, maybe a little bit less, so not too bad.
So there's plenty of work that's gone into it. But everything's been tackled with a clear plan to ensure the Commodore strikes the perfect balance between cost-effective and kick-ass. No part of the car typifies this better than the seriously clean setup you see when you pop the hood.
The engine's out, I might as well do something to it, so I thought let's smooth the engine bay. We set about welding up all the holes, removing what we didn't want, removed brackets, just made it the way it is. Pretty much there's a couple of wires that you see in there and the rest of it's hidden. The fuse box and everything's all under the dash. Everyone stops to look at it. It's been told someone could cook some eggs on it if they wanted to because it's so clean. So when I first built the V8 engine from Franklin Engineering, it was a pretty mild car. But within 9 months of building it, I think I needed more power. So we got some more headwork done, put some L34 valves in it and a bigger cam. I just wanted a nice, plain, relatively simple car that went well. I haven't seeked a whole lot of power, although I've got some parts to do that if I want to now. But in all honesty, I think I actually like it the way it is.
Sarchin also kept the interior pretty much factory, give or take. A smart shortcut so he could put the money where it really mattered.
So the interior came in relatively good condition, and obviously knowing what my budget was in the initial stages, I thought, well, that's a good enough interior to keep. So I kept it pretty much as it was, changed the, a couple of little things, the gauges and what have you, but the seats and the trimmings and everything are all perfect. New carpet was put down. And I've also done the boot where I've panelled it all out and put some subs and things like that, and a little toolbox compartment in there as well.
Unquestionably, the highlight is the sound. The angry growl from the 308 cube motor, complete with Edelbrock Performer intake and Holly double pumper, rattles fences and turns heads wherever it goes.
Yeah, the sound that it's got is perfect. Actually, it's a little exhaust that's just dumped at the diff. We made that in the garage again at home, and it's actually just worked out really well. It sounds awesome. It's had, I think there's one clip on YouTube that's got 20, 30, 40,000 hits on it, just from the sound of it, really. The sound definitely turns heads. Everywhere you go, people are just hanging out their cars, giving you the thumbs up. Why it sounds like that, I don't know, just happens to be the right pipes, the right everything for it. That just sounds really good.
And Sarchin's constantly reminded of how much these Aussie legends are loved on this side of the ditch.
I think the car connects with New Zealanders. It's old school V8s, and that's what a lot of people were brought up on. You know, I mean, everyone's parents had a Holden Commodore to take them to school 20, 30, 40 years ago. It's just what people like these days. I mean, yeah, people are into their new modern cars, so am I, but having this is just something different. You know, any old school car is what people like, and you get the looks in them.
This is a classic Holden, brilliant in all the right places, but still built by a bloke and his brother-in-law in the garage over a decade, with one eye always on the budget. And that's what makes this car special, because in so many ways, it's relatable. Sure, there are plenty of more powerful, more expensive examples out there, but this one's been given just the right amount of custom love, giving Sachin exactly the V8 cruiser he was after.
The most special thing about this one is it's mine. It's something that I built, having never built a car before, got into it and worked my way through it, and now I'm quite happy. I could probably pull it to pieces and redo it if I had to right now. It's just all the stuff that I've learned over the years. I'm not a mechanic or anything like that. So I think just because I've built it, that's why I like it so much. It's mine.
Feel like your car could do with some TLC? Well, thanks to our series sponsors, we could be hooking you up with this incredible prize pack. For a start, there's a huge Maguire's and Rislone complete car care pack valued at over $760. We've also thrown in this unbelievable Mech Pro Blue 248-piece toolkit with 3-drawer chest valued at $566. To stay on top of everything underneath, there's a $500 mount shop voucher. And last but not least, you'll also score a year's subscription to NZ V8 magazine. That's a total prize pool of nearly $2,000. To enter, just head over to nzv8.co.nz and hit the Muscle Garage link on the homepage. The winner will be drawn at the end of the series, so make sure you get amongst, because this prize pack is one major haul. Good luck.
Repco Muscle Garage was proudly brought to you by Repco. It starts with the parts. Mount Shop Undercar Specialists. Maguire's, people who love cars love Maguire's. And Rislone, high performance additives for high performance vehicles.